guys are armed down there. You're not dealing here with just ordinary people, and some of them are trained, like soldiers that we're having down here.
My brother is still trapped down, and I was having hope that he's still alive, but now
these people are called, gangsters. Yes, you'll be shocked at, I'm telling you.
They can't really go home leaving their friends, their dead bodies inside their mine.
It's the mine where gold was discovered in Johannesburg. So this has got such a significance from a historical point of view, from a tourism point of view.
We have to crawl and for 7 meters to be able to reach where the mine are trapped.
Deep in the belly of the earth lies a secret world of hidden wealth, luring many with the promise of quick riches, but also drawing scores of the untimely deaths. Illegal miners face dangers at every turn, from rockfalls and underground fires to attacks by rival groups. But it is often loved ones that are left destitute and with nowhere to turn when all too often the unthinkable happens. On September 7, 2016, a group of illegal miners, or Zamazamas as they are known, crawled into this abandoned mine shaft in Langlaagte. The men were on the start of a dangerous work shift, little knowing at that time that it would become deadly. At some point during the next couple of days, a fire started underground, spreading toxic smoke throughout the mine. It was several days later when authorities got wind of the situation and launched official rescue operations. At least 3 illegal miners lost their lives, leaving their family members devastated. Possible cause of death? Smoke inhalation? Rescue operations were called off 2 days later. No one knows for sure if more illegal miners were trapped in the mines, buried underground.
my brother is still trapped down, and I was having hope that he's still alive, but now I'm no longer having that hope, because there were some guys that were trapped there inside. Some of them, they came out the day before yesterday. Those guys, they bring some phone there. That's where we got an evidence that that man is no longer alive.
He came here because he was unemployed. His friends called him to come and work with them here. That's why he came here to work. I stay with him in Bramfisher. The elders sent me because I have his papers. And if anything happens to him, I am responsible.
I would like to thank all those who helped retrieve my brother's lifeless body, because I lost my mind when I thought of the fact that I won't be able to see him again.
You can understand the trauma that the families are going through. The families who are sitting here, the families in Zimbabwe, because they've been notified that someone went inside the mine to try and rescue his friend. He was trapped, he has suddenly died inside the mine, and his body is still inside. So it is traumatic.
The reason the rescue operation was suspended is because it was very risky for the rescuer to continue with the operation, because the space is very confined, and as I explained, that at one tunnel it's about 30 centimeters tunnel that you have to crawl, and for 7 meters to be able to reach where the mine are trapped. So it was very risky for them to do that, because they need oxygen, because there's toxic gas that is in the mine, so they couldn't move over to the other side, and they have just decided to suspend the operation.
Rescue efforts made all the more dangerous by the uncontrolled conditions in the disused mines. Foremost is the lack of safety equipment like proper mining gear, supporting pillars and oxygen masks.
We received information that there's some illegal miners that is in difficulty, and we decided firstly to send down one of our rescue teams. They were accompanied by 2 guides, 2 illegal miners. It's extremely difficult traveling conditions. and after approximately 2.5 hours of traveling, and it's approximately 1,500 meters from here.
But the hazardous conditions did not deter desperate friends and family members when official rescue operations were called off. Many of them decided to risk their own lives to go in search of their trapped loved ones.
These families have been sitting here. You have everyone here who understand the geography, the people that work here. So therefore, we believe that a meeting should be held to understand the geography and agree on how to rescue or to bring to surface the two bodies that are inside. This is our position. And secondly, because the authorities are not here from the Department of Minerals, people will now want to take it upon themselves to go inside the mine, volunteers, because they work together. They can't really go home leaving their friends, their dead bodies inside the mine. Something that has been confirmed.
Till now, no one knows for sure if more illegal miners were trapped underground at Langlaagte. 3 dead and many were brought out alive. But with tunnels extending several kilometers below the surface and no official records, rescuers may never know how many illegal miners actually remain unaccounted for.
My people have whispered to me that there are still many Basotho, say over 20, who are still mining underground. We are told that these groups don't work in the same place, geographical place. There's a section for Zimbabweans, there's a section for Basotho, far apart from each other.
Informal miners or zamazamas often squeeze through tiny entrance to gain access to the disused shafts. And they don't just get in through normal entrances, but also ventilation shafts and other openings. In light of these dangers, what keeps attracting these miners to this hazardous and illegal occupation?
If I don't go underground to work, I will not be able to provide for my family. So what happened is that there was an explosion of a certain gas, which killed some of the people we were with underground. Illegal mining has killed a lot of people, but we still want to know what's going to happen now. We still want to work here. We got nowhere to go. We don't want to go job hunting, they pay us peanuts. Government must intervene and create jobs.
Informal mining is dangerous. There are no official records to track the number of lives lost. But just track the media coverage and you will realize how widespread and fatal it is. Every year, Zamazamas die in scores, either from accidents underground or due to violence with police, security guards, or rival informal miners. In 2015, 67% illegal miners lost their lives to turf wars with rival gangs, while 21% due to suffocation underground, 10% due to explosives or accidents. The tragedy at Langlaagte prompting immediate reactions, the cabinet sending out condolences to those who lost their lives, urging that relevant stakeholders eliminate the scourge of illegal mining in South Africa.
Cabinet regrets the tragic loss of lives of those illegal miners who died in the derelict Langlaagte mine. These fatalities highlight the dangers of illicit mining as these unlawful activities put the lives of people and community at risk. The Department of Mineral Resources is working with law enforcement agencies to ensure that perpetrators are brought to book, and in particular the main ring leaders who continue to trade in illegal minerals.
The Langlaagte incident is just the tip of the iceberg. Thousands of illegal miners are working in abandoned mines around South Africa at any given moment, while scores are killed each year. It is a sorry tale of the government's ineffectiveness in curbing the informal industry. Many believe that the efforts to curb illegal mining fail because often the measures taken ignore the systematic problems underlying the informal industry.
Especially the Department of Mineral Resources, it is really not helpful to the affected communities, because in most cases it will spend more time with mining companies rather than with communities. And it's difficult for communities to have access to that department and to actually talk to the officials of those, of that department.
The main causes of illegal mining include unemployment, involvement of crime syndicates, retrenchment of miners who take to work illegally, and ease of access to disused mines. Thousands of mines sit empty across South Africa, some abandoned without caring to secure or limit access to these mines. The mineral reserves in many of these mines are not depleted, making them sitting ducks for unemployed miners. Basically, anyone with the knowledge and desperate enough to make a buck can enter these mines at will and haul away a basket full of gold rocks.
The reason why they continue in this operation is simple. These are people that are unemployed, who are looking for opportunities. They came to South Africa, no opportunities. They embarked on this mining activity.
Some of the interviews on the channel shows that people are saying they're earning money. They're talking about 3,000-4,000 rand a day if you get some goods down there. So obviously it's a very lucrative business, but unfortunately it doesn't contribute to our industry, to our GDP, and that becomes a problem. And it's not regulated, and so people's lives are at stake. So the question is, how do we therefore mitigate the risks that are involved? And that's why it becomes then a capital-intensive exercise to regulate it. The question is it actually worth it?
But that is just one of the story. In a report, the South African Human Rights Commission has unequivocally accused some mining companies of colluding with Zamazamas when it is not commercially viable to formally use mines owned by them.
When the so-called legal mining stopped, when they reached the term of their mining capacity, they left the mines open. They didn't close any of the mines. They didn't rehabilitate the land as such, as they promised before they started the mining. In fact, we've had no communication with them for the last 3 years. They just ignore us. They ignore the community, and the illegal miners have a free will here. They come and go as they want.
They should arrest the mining companies, because it is these mining companies that have mined out the areas and they've left them unrehabilitated.
The involvement of a larger syndicate at work in illegal mining is corroborated by these Chamber of Mines statistics, which explain why it is easier to abandon mines than get them up and running. For now, the loss of revenue to the gold industry due to illegal mining is estimated at 6 billion rands a year. But this is nothing compared to the estimated cost of rehabilitating all the abandoned mines at 40 billion rands. Then, the additional cost of securing abandoned mines and the cost of damage to mine infrastructure.
It's one of the unfortunate problems of our society, that the high rate of unemployment created that people must go down there, risk their lives to get out whatever minerals and gold that they can. We believe that there's a much bigger syndicate behind that play. We ensure that something like this will be, cordoned off in future. We will investigate it. We'll work with the other law enforcement agencies, SAPS, and the specialized teams at SAPS to ensure that these activities are curbed and stopped.
Moreover, the victims are overwhelmingly foreign nationals, primarily from Lesotho and Zimbabwe. These undocumented immigrants come to this country to work for gold companies. But as mining jobs dried up, they ended up in illegal trade.
It's not a provincial, it's a national problem. And this is why it is really an economic problem. It's getting into a problem of it's got a lot of criminal tenets in it because of people are coming from other countries, from Lesotho, from Zimbabwe, from Mozambique. Surely economics doesn't follow ideological blueprints, but something has to be done.
Every time a tragedy like the one at Langlaagte occurs, the call to end the scourge will reach a crescendo. This time too, similar demands were made again from the government, the opposition and independent bodies.
Illegal mining in this country is becoming unacceptable, and to look at that particular mine which is declared a heritage site, I cannot understand how as a city we're not taking advantage of this. As you're aware, mining is not our competency of the city, it's the competency of the national government. It is for that reason I'm saying a need with immediate effect to arrange that we close off that area and engage national government so that we can turn this into a tourist area, so that we can demonstrate to the world the foundation of our city over 100 years ago.
We have a team of different state entities, departments working together to deal with this problem. We are arresting people. Up to this moment, we have arrested this year only around 800 illegal miners, and that does not only include those people who are sent by the kingpins. We also arrest the kingpins, and we are happy about the progress. This is a problem that is costing us money and the economy of the country, but we are hopeful that we'll crack it going forward.
But no sooner does the dust settle down, it seems business as usual in these abandoned, disused mines. Sometimes the Zamazamas even blast open closed mines to somehow crawl down to the gleaming precious metals below, risking their lives in their desperation, with the real beneficiaries laughing all the way to the bank.
From the Chamber's perspective, there are a number of interventions underway. A very big part of this is working very closely with the SAPS and the DMR, and also, as one of your other spokespersons said earlier, is looking at international agencies like the UN, like Interpol, because this really is related to organized crime, organized syndicates. It's not really the illegal miners who are benefiting as much as the crime syndicates.
The one important aspect that you just mentioned there is how do we make sure that we create jobs? I think that's the most important thing. It's one of the 3 pillars that government is trying to fight. And so when you have people who are currently, according to the report by National Treasury, about 70% of these people are illegal migrants. So it means that there's no way of actually tracking how much work has been beneficial into the long-term stream of the economy. Second thing that is quite maybe baffling to many people is the fact that somebody is buying this gold. We need to find out who. Obviously, this is a syndicate, so it can't be that we're losing 6 billion and it's going to people who don't have money. It must be people who are able to fund these miners, who are able to make them have the kind of equipment that they need to cleanse their gold, to be able to put it back into the market.
Mineral Resources Minister Mosebenzi Zwane hitting on the nail on the head, emphasizing the need to deal with the market that is illegally stolen gold is taken too.
We have taken this matter to AU because we need to deal with the markets. For as long as there are markets out there, these people will be forced to go underground, fight against each other for holes. Once we have dealt with the market, I'm sure we'll be closer to ensuring that we are successful in dealing with this problem.
Stakeholders in the industry shockingly claiming that the real problem is not even the stolen gold and the loss of revenue to this exchequer. They say that the real cost of illegal activities is the damage to South Africa's mining infrastructure instead.
What you need to do with this thing, you don't close the shafts, you open cast the whole area. You've got maps. If it's stuff in crown mines, you open it out, you start rehabilitating, putting whatever, material that needs to, to actually make the land to be stable. So that's what needs to be done here. These people are caught, are gangsters. Don't know how gangsters without permits, without anything, come into a country like this and control themselves. You hear what they say. They say no one can do anything to them. I mean, even today, you guys could not come in here if there wasn't something like this. You'll be shot at. I'm telling you, they are ruthless. They can kill you anytime. So we need just communities. We need to make sure that people like this, are actually taken good care of, in a right way. I'm not promoting violence or anything, but in a right way. We need to protect our mines. These are our resources. No one can come in Zimbabwe or in Mozambique and do this thing if you're a South African. Okay.
The 2009 disaster at Harmony Mine saw the establishment of Provincial Illegal Mining Stakeholders Forum. The bid was to block entrances to abandoned mines, encourage mine owners to enhance security and up the conviction rate of zamazamas. The emphasis ever since has been on criminalizing miners, a strategy that does not seem to have paid much dividends. Arrest 20 zamazamas today and another 10 will promptly replace them tomorrow. Analysts believe that the immediate thing to do in the short term would be to perhaps up the security in disused mines to reduce fatalities. And then comes the bigger issue of educating and rehabilitating the informal miners.
In the short term, what we need to do is to make sure that we protect the people and their lives. And so I'd like to see some more security at the mines to make sure that it doesn't continue, because it's really, really devastating. You might get 4,000, 3,000 rands odd, but the time you die, in unforeseen circumstances, then that means your family will be lost to have anything in any case. So the risk, if you do the risk calculation, it's just not worth it, to be honest with you. And the dangers of the chemicals that Saniki was talking about that are involved in making sure that it's processed, those are lifetime scarring measures, and so that those people will not be able to have normal lives. So the question is, can government then penetrate and take a hard stance a little bit, maybe, to fortify the security that is available at these dumps, these oil mine dumps, and to make sure that they educate people. One of the most important things is to educate people.
The Chamber of Mines is battling for a solution that addresses both the supply and demand side of informal mining. Even criminal syndicates, they play a role. But the sad truth is, there are limited resources at the disposal of law enforcement agencies for this. No immediate solutions are there, but the wake-up nail towards South Africa's illegal mining time bomb has been sounded. This year alone has seen the reported deaths of 35 informal miners. Add 3 more to that number, taking into account the Langlaagte tragedy. The deaths of these nameless and already forgotten people is tragic. But the tragedy could multiply manifold with just one big accident. The bomb underground continues to tick.